welcome to a new vlog and video in cooperation with ReiseJung. We're taking a look at the 4th day on board of the Porto Mirante. We are in Vega de Terrón in Spain, and from here we're starting our excursion to Salamanca. In the evening we're then sailing from Vega de Terrón on to Porto. This time in the animation we can also see the journey that we're doing by bus, as Salamanca is quite far away from Vega de Terrón, so that you can see where we are actually going. And in the afternoon we are returning from Salamanca on the same way back to Vega de Terrón, and from there we're then taking the Porto Mirante on to Porto, where we are staying overnight. Here you can see the journey in total, and we're starting in the morning with a nice breakfast. Actually the same breakfast as always. Almost every day I ordered the same breakfast, as it was very good. Of course there were many other options available, but I always chose the same one. Directly after the breakfast we were leaving Vega de Terrón, heading on to Salamanca. As Salamanca is quite far away, it is a full day excursion. We're starting in the morning, returning in the late afternoon. Takes around 2 hours to get from Vega de Terrón to Salamanca, but it's worth it. You're gonna see it in a second. The journey is also quite nice. We're not using any highways, we're only using regional roads, and we can see a very typical landscape for this part of Spain. Every now and then we're gonna have some very nice views, and otherwise we're seeing mainly agricultural landscape. Just a handful of villages, mainly we can see fields with animals like cows. In the small village of Villa Seco de los Gamitos we made a short stop at the restaurant where we were offered a few refreshments, and then we continued on for the last kilometers on to Salamanca. Here we are approaching Salamanca. We're now heading into the city center. Here we are crossing the river Tormes, which is mouthing in the river Douro. And here we are in the city center, and from here we're now walking to the most famous place of the city, which is the Plaza Mayor, the central square, which is considered to be one of the most beautiful squares in Spain. It used to be much bigger, used to be all over the city center. It was even used for bullfighting. Since 1724 it's much smaller. In 1724 it received its current size, and also today it is the center of the town and is used for several events. For our guests, the visit in Salamanca started with some local tapas, followed by a guided city tour, but due to the maximum number of participants we were not allowed to join the group, so we decided to discover Salamanca on our own, which you can do quite easily as the city feels very compact. All parts of the city center are reachable by walking. We headed to a traditional tapas restaurant first, where we had some amazing tapas accompanied with some nice Spanish wines, and then we headed on into the city center, walking down the main street Rua Mayor in the direction of the cathedral. There are actually 2 cathedrals right next to each other, the old one and the new one. And not only there, but in a whole area you can see a lot of storks. They are like a symbol of the region. We were seeing a lot of them on our way to Salamanca, and also here on the roof of the cathedral we can see some storks, and we will see some more later on in the video. From the cathedral we are now walking to the Puente de Enrique Esteban. This is a bridge over the river Tormes. On the way there we're walking past the Casa Lis. This is a very beautiful building, which is nowadays used as a museum of art deco, and just a few meters away we're crossing the river Tormes. There's also a specific reason why I can recommend going on the Puente de Enrique Esteban, and that's because from there you have the most beautiful view of the town. Here we can see another stork in the river, and here we can see this beautiful view of the old and the new cathedral in Salamanca. In general, it's the most beautiful viewpoint, and of course it's completely free, so I can recommend going there. It doesn't take too long, and from there you can then use the Puente Romano, the old Roman bridge, to get back into the city center. The city does feel quite young, and that's because there are more than 40,000 students in the city, as the city has a big and famous university. There are also a lot of international students in the city that want to improve their Spanish skills, because it's said that Salamanca has the best Spanish in the whole country, and therefore there are a lot of language schools and courses here in Salamanca. After our visit to the city, we visited a nice pub which was designed in the style of an Irish theatre, and then we walked to the meeting point with our group at the cathedral. Of course, also our guests had some free time, and now we're taking the bus on the same way back to Vega de Terrón. Here we are crossing a former railway line. This is the railway line that goes onto Vega de Terrón, then crosses the border into Portugal, onto Barca d'Alva, and from Pocinho on it is still in use as the famous railway line on the river Douro. The part between Pocinho and Barca d'Alva is supposed to be reopened in the future, but the part in Spain remains closed and is nowadays a quite famous hike. And this railway line in the end continued on to Salamanca. Here we can see the bridge of the railway line crossing a river going into Portugal, and here we can see our Porto Mirante. That means that we're now back on board, and as soon as everybody was back on board we were also immediately leaving Vega de Terrón, heading back to Portugal. Here we are sailing past Barca d'Alva, and we can see a lot of other river cruise ships, and all of these ships have one thing in common: they all had an excursion to Salamanca, because this is one of the highlights of the cruise. It's a very nice excursion, and I think you just clearly saw in the video why it's worth visiting Salamanca. In the evening it was time for another fantastic dinner. The starter was so good I ordered it twice, and already whilst we were enjoying dinner we reached Pocinho, where we docked for the night, and we were even able to watch the rising moon from the sun deck, so it was another nice relaxing evening on board. And that's it for this video. Here you can see when the next video will be uploaded and the name of the song. As always, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to comment, like, subscribe or share the video link. And I hope to see you in my next video, or maybe one day on board. You can find more information on the ReiseJung cruises on reisejung.de.